Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Welcome to Thursday afternoon. Ready to do some crafting? There she is. Were you worried, Kim? Oh, good. I'm excited. I'm clearly having a busy day. I just went live a couple hours ago with the Kraftin Kimmie Mermaid Retreat that is happening on this weekend, starting today and running through Sunday. So there might be a little bit of a crossover. Some of you might be coming over from that. I know seeing me twice in one day is like crazy, isn't it, Kim? I picked the Throwback Thursday today, Deep Sea Palace, because I was in the mermazing mood. So for those of you that might be doing the retreat, it's going to coordinate nicely, I think you'll find. But for those that are joining just in the regular Kraftin Kimmie Friends group, this is a versatile little stamp that I think we can have a lot of fun with for summer. And it is this cute sandcastle. It kind of gives me vibes of like it could be the type of those castles you'd stick into your fish bowls, or maybe it's a mystical like Little Mermaid type thing under the ocean. We've got lots of fun ideas. I am sticking pretty much just to this set, but there are a lot of other great sets in the shop. There are a couple mermaid sets and a few just underwater animals that would go really, really well to coordinate with this set. That I think there's some still in stock. There's a couple of the mermaid stamp sets that I know are still available that could go great, but this stands alone. So it's a little, gosh, I'm going to say about a 4x4 stamp set when you get it. Yeah, it's a 4x4 set. It comes with the sandcastle, I'm calling it, and 2 fish, which I love because they're pointing different directions, and then a sentiment. And so we're going to build a card today with it, and I'm hoping we'll see if a few others do find us and jump on, because I might do a little choose your own adventure and get some feedback on some colors if people are watching and want to chime in with some color options as we color. But otherwise I'll just try to pick the best that I can. Okay, so what's everybody up to on a Thursday afternoon? I imagine there's probably some at work. Normally I would be at work on a Thursday afternoon, but it is summer holidays, so I do not have any school, which is fabulous, which gives me a great opportunity to pop on a little earlier in the day for those of you that are on the East Coast, because I know quite often when I come on for my Throwback Thursdays, it's quite a bit later for you guys, and you have to stay up and be a night owl like I usually am. It's a bright sunny day here. Don't know what the weather's doing where you are. It's been kind of different all over the place, but we're going to kind of dive right in. So today what I am going to do is I'm going to build a card. I did get a card base ready. I just used an A2 piece and I cut a patterned paper panel out of this fun, bright, vibrant polka dot paper I had. It kind of reminded me of bubbles, but I love bright colors, so I thought it would be nice for summer. And then I've done a couple different lives like this before, but I actually stamped the image from the set onto some colored cardstock. So it's like textured. It is a patterned piece of paper, but it's very subtly textured, has some darker to light areas. And I found that you can do some kind of neat coloring when you color on something that is like textured. I've done some other patterns where the pattern subtly shows through, whereas this one is a little plain, but for me, it gives a great way to not have to worry about necessarily coloring the background, and you can still do some fun things. I did do a die around the outside with a deckled edge die that I had. I'm gonna pull it up a little bit. Full disclosure, I changed my mind twice as I was kind of getting it ready. I did the larger piece, liked it, was trying a stitch die on here, didn't like how it looked, thought maybe I could cut the one die smaller, but I really didn't like how that looked. So then I ended up piecing it back together on the back. How many of us have pieced things together again? But in the end, it kind of gave a cool look because it kind of makes it look like it's double, like it's die cut, but then just embossed on the inside. So it sort of gave a double frame. So happy accident there. And that's the piece we're going to use. Then I also did the 2 goldfish, and I pre-stamped the sentiment also on that same piece of paper and did some fussy cutting around that. And I also found some fun thread that I have that it's black, but it's got some like iridescent shimmer. So I thought that was kind of fun. And I found some clear sequins. So I thought we would just play, and I sort of have a semi-plan, but not a lot planned. Hey, Hope, nice to see you. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who does that. So that makes me feel better. So I'm just gonna set the stamp aside for now and my card base, and we will get going here. So I definitely wanted to go for a more whimsical look, but I think I will, I had another color here. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. So my choose your own adventure, do we want, I wasn't sure if I wanted the sandcastle part to be more like sandy color, or maybe it's a little bit built out of rock. So for anyone on, are we thinking maybe some muted brown sand colors, sandcastle vibes, or some of my light brown grays for a more stone look? What are we thinking? Anybody have any, you know, choose A, choose B? What should I do? What should I try out? That's a very good question, Kim. Probably could have tested it out first, but I think either will look good. I've colored with both before. I think maybe I'm feeling maybe the browns, maybe like the sandcastle vibes. So let's go with that because I'm going to bring in some color into the tops. So I'm going to pick a muted brown blend. I'm using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends. I have to remember to actually tell my thought process. Oh, I'm going to zoom in for coloring too, just because I did go live this morning in the other group, and so now I forget that I've got a new bunch of folks here. So how's that? Does anybody want me to? Yeah, beach. Okay, good. That's what I'm thinking too. So I'm going with the sand. Is that zoomed in enough, Kim and Hope? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit more? I'll try that and then just let me know. Now I'm going to work with a sort of left to right vibe, I think, today, and I'm going to lay down the darker color along the left-hand sides of my sandcastle towers, and I think I'm going to leave the stairs. Okay, that looks like the inside, like we can see through that archway, right? Okay, so then that is a bit of the tower. It's a bit tricky to kind of tell what we've got going on here. I think this one is part of the tower. Here's another one. And there's probably a bit of shadow just along the left there. Oh yeah, I think this is going to be good. I think you're right, Kim. It's going to be perfect. Zoomed in. Good. Good. I'm glad it's the right. Okay, I probably missed some spots, but now I'm going to come in with my medium. So this paper is like a pretty heavy pattern, so I don't think you'd want to try this with like a really, really thin pattern cardstock. And it does soak up, I think, a bit more of your marker because, of course, it's not as glossy. And you might not get quite as much of a blend. But like I said, I've had pretty good luck with it the few times I've done it. I have not done it with as big of an image as this one. So it'll be kind of a fun experiment to see what our finished product looks like. Now I do have a lighter shade on this marker as well, but I think it will end up being too light, like to blend out, just because I'm not going to get the, like when you use a normal paper for alcohol markers, the marker kind of sits on top of the paper for a little bit while it's wet, and that's how you can get a really good blend. But I don't think the lighter color will blend as well on this pattern paper, so I'm just using the dark and the medium. And then if I want to, I can use the lightest color on this marker to go in when I'm doing some extra highlights or different areas. Oh yeah, okay, there's the tower, and then I think this is part of the bridge. So I might actually come back in after and do those bridges with a little bit of a different, like the darker color again, or maybe a different brown. Sometimes when you, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but when you're coloring an image, especially for one of the first times, that's why I didn't actually do this ahead of time, because I kind of wanted to give the vibe for you guys that like we're all stampers for the first time a lot of the time, and sometimes you don't know what parts of the image are what until you get going and kind of trying to realize what parts belong with what and different pieces. I especially find that when you have critters, you know, you think you've got it all good, and then you go, wait, I think that was part of their hair, or that was part of their arm, and you colored it wrong. And so that's kind of like here. I thought that this was part of the tower, and it wasn't really till I started coloring that I realized it was part of the little sandy bridge. I feel like this could be, you know, part of long lost Atlantis or something. Go. Now I'm thinking, I think this is part of the tower underneath there too. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go back with my dark, and on these bridges, I'm gonna go from the left and the right. And then I have this gold brown blend. So I'm gonna take the middle of that and I'm gonna try and come out. Just adds a bit of a different color tone, which I think will be nice. Now, one of the things, I think I'm saying now a lot. Sorry about that. It's almost as bad as saying like. I think one thing you do have to be careful of if you decide to stamp onto pattern paper like this is you might get a bit more bleed from the black ink. So just be kind of wary of that. I do think it kind of will pull from the black. I don't know. It also is my lighter colors that sometimes do that. So just kind of be cautious. And, okay, I do really like that. Do I see any more bridges or tower? I think that's good. Maybe this color that's like the sandy floor. I'll use the same as I did for the sandcastle, but let's try the lightest one that I didn't use for the blending. Oh yeah, definitely the lighter colors pull the black a little bit. And then I'll probably come in and do a bit of definition around the sand at the bottom when I'm all done. Okay, now let's do these windows. I'm just going to bring in the lightest color. So then I just circled the lightest color overlapping, pulling back some of that dark color. So it kind of makes it look like there's almost a little bit of a shine coming through, but yet still that darker shadow. So I really like that. That's looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna keep those there. Now, I was thinking that this green turquoise blend I have, yes, it's a very aqua-y color. I think it will match well with some of my polka dots. So I was going to try that with the seaweed here, because I do quite like and there's a bit of like that aqua green. So this is the green turquoise blend. I'm using the darkest color to go up on the seaweed. Now I have I was saying in my earlier live, the bullet tips are really nice on these for doing some smaller spaces. So if you have the brush tip, you may have to go a little bit careful, just do a little bit of dabs and dots in these finer spaces. I'm just going to dot in my medium color. And then the lightest color, it's kind of a blue, it goes to more of a blue, which will give that great ocean vibe. There we go. And I think I'm going to do the same on these, like, kind of like they're vines. Like seaweed vines, maybe, wrapping around. So again, I'm doing my darker on the left, and then pull out the mid. I'm just doing one stroke, like in one direction, to kind of try and pull that ink a bit. I would do that even if I was on the paper for alcohol markers, but I find it works really well. Kind of pulls that color. Oh yeah, okay, I like that. I planned that one ahead of time, so I'm happy with that. Now, because there is some rocks and stones here, and I'm confident that I want those to be kind of the grays, I'm going to pull my brown gray shades, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of the darkest. Sorry, my hand gets in the way there. I'm just putting some dark dots just in the kind of left edge of each of the rocks. And then I'm going to skip right down on that same marker to the lightest tone and pull and just do one quick layer. For the rest of the rocks, so keeping it very simple. I'm just kind of dabbing a little bit over that darkest piece and then one layer on the rest of the rock so it kind of stays lighter. And then in that same tone, I have my brown gray blend, and I think I'm going to use that for the stairs. So and actually, I take that back. I'm going to go in with my brown gray shade again. I'm going to use my medium to do these front parts of the stairs, because I feel like they would be a little bit more shadowed, I guess. I mean, this is a whimsical kind of stamp, so I don't think we're going for realism here, folks. And then I will take my lightest of that one, Swoop that out. Now I'll switch to my brown gray blend in the darkest there and just finish this front. And then I'm gonna take the medium. This top stair, I'm kind of swooping it, like keeping the oval shape. Then the very lightest color, one layer out front, and a swoop in the middle. Just going back in with that darkest one. Just on these shadowy bits. Okay. Now, I think that gold brown blend I used for the bridges, I'm going to take that color and do the railing. Because who doesn't want a gorgeous gold railing in their palace? Okay. All right, now, I feel like the other thing I feel fairly confident on coloring is that same muted brown blend that I was using for the sandcastle. I'm going to take the lightest and I'm going to do the outer of the clamshell, I guess. I feel like that would be a very light color. I'm hoping to add some sparkles to this. I don't know, it might not be quite as white as we would hope. And then that might be a bit too pink. Do I have a really feel like it might be okay if I just... So this is the coral blend and it's the lightest color. And I think I'm gonna just be very careful. I'm gonna do one layer of the inside of the pearl. And then I'm gonna take that same color and just go over the left side and maybe these lines. So it's a little darker, but it's the same tone. Okay, that's cute. And because of the texture of my paper being a little bit lighter, I'm gonna keep the pearl. I'm not gonna color that, and then I'm gonna add some sparkle to it. And I think that will finish that off nicely. I think if I try to add anything to that, like a color or something, I think it's gonna go weird. So I don't want to mess with that. Okay. I do know, I'm just going to take a little break for a second from the castle. I'm pretty certain that I want to use my coral shades for the two fish. It's kind of like a goldfish-y-esque color, because I feel like this could be in a goldfish bowl, like I said earlier. So I'm going to use the coral shades, the medium, and just do a little bit of the body bottom of the fish, and then the lightest color. And then that was the coral shades. Now I'm going to take my coral blend, just do a little bit of lightness along the top, and bring the next lightest shades in for the fins. And then the medium on that lighter shade. I think they'll pop nicely. I'm going to add them on top, and I felt that those colors were going to go really nice with some of the kind of corally colors in the polka dots. Just going to see if I can lift that up a little bit for you to see. Oh my gosh, I can never get these in the camera. There we go. So there's our fish, and I think we need a little bit of this light color in here as well. I'm thinking maybe this shell. What do we think? I'm going to take the coral blend, the darkest, or the coral blend middle color. And I just did the tops there. And the bottom here. And then I'll take the lightest. And I might go back with that middle because I just want a bit of definition. And I'm going to do that one on the inside there. That's cute. Okay. And I don't think that will, like, that'll go really well with the goldfish, but if we make sure we place them in a certain spot. And I'm going to take that same light one here. This time I'm just starting with the lightest of that coral blend. And then come down with that middle color. And in fact, on this one, I might just try the darkest. Cute, and I like that a lot, so I might go back on this one, and I'm just dabbing a little bit of that darkest color around. So I just added a little bit darker definition around the shells there, and I think that looks really good. Okay. said, you always miss something. I missed a rock. Go back with my gray. Okay, now, folks, here are my polka dot colors. I don't want to go too wild and crazy with the tops, but I think we need to pull in some colors. So let's maybe try I do have this jade green. I'm not sure if it looks that much different from my seaweed. Let's try it on this one. So I'm using the jade green blend. I'm just doing the lightest color. And then I'll take the middle there we go. That is very similar to that one, so I think that's all we'll do in that one. And then I like this bit of yellow, and I think we need to bring in some purple, and I don't know, how are we feeling about some green? I have a citrus green blend we could try here. I think the tone is right. So this is a citrus green blend using the lightest color, and then the middle or the darkest one. Yeah, I think I'm going to use the middle and just swoop along. Cute. And let's see, I think these two could be the same. I'm feeling a purple. Maybe this hydrangea blend. So this hydrangea blend, what I think I'll do is I'll do both of these the same, but on this one, I'll use the lightest color and outline with the mid. And then on this one, maybe I'll use the mid and outline with the dark. So it will be the same color family, but just slightly different tones. Or maybe I should have done that on this one, since I've sort of been doing some dark to light, but to me, this one kind of looks like ice cream with sprinkles on top. And I'm going to do the same as I did on these shells, just along the top with the mid. And I'm probably going to do it twice just to get that dark to soak in a little bit. Third coat. And I think it needs it along the bottom too, in this case, just to give some definition. against the sandcastle. And then I'll try this one with that same color scheme, but use the middle to color and the darkest to outline. That way they'll look different, but the same, if you know what I mean. I think I gotta turn this sideways so I can see what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, that's cute. They are kind of the same, but different. Okay, and then let's do a yellow. There's a few yellow polka dots, but are we gonna see those? Okay, whoever's still there. I don't know if Hope's still there or if it's just Kim. But when I put this on, you are no longer gonna see the yellow polka dots. So, other than like this light shade. Are we feeling that a yellow is gonna be just too much? I do have this gold yellow that might be better. It's lighter than the citrus. I'm thinking maybe the lighter one because it'll pick up that. Will I see any of that? My plan is to put that there and this here. So you will still see those yellow. So I'm going to use the lighter yellow. I was originally going to bring in a pop of bright, but I think that is going to stand out too much because there isn't really any of that that's going to show once I build my card. So I'll take this, it's a gold yellow blend, the lightest one. And then outline with the mid. Okay. Now I need the last one. I think another blue. So I have an aqua blue blend, which I think will be good. I don't know, just a lot of these look so similar, but it is a bit different. It might not show up on the camera as being quite as different, but I'm gonna just check. My other blues here. I have this ice blue blend. So I brought in an ice blue blend to go over that. So it brings in a little bit more blue. So now, when you see these up close, they do have a bit of a difference to them. It's subtle, but they still go together really well. And this one is just like a touch darker. So I think I like that. Okay, now I'm going to pick that muted brown because I believe that's what I used for the sand. And I'm going to bring lightest here. I'm just going to kind of do some dots. Just kind of roughly going underneath. Keeping it very loosey-goosey. There we go. A bit over here. Yeah, okay. And then I'm gonna take the middle one of that, and I'm just gonna add some little like triads of dots. And then I'll go back over those with the lightest, but like kind of offset. So it kind of blends those dots in. And then go with some bigger dots of that lightest, just for some contrast. And they'll all kind of blend in and join this, kind of be the same. Just kind of going to like get it like even to kind of how well, it looks right. Okay, now the last thing that I'm gonna do, and hopefully I won't regret my life choices. I'm gonna test out here this little piece. Yeah, so I have a B0000 in my Copic, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna outline around my image, and it's gonna just kind of fade in. But it'll just give that little bit of like water without having to do the whole background. So you don't want to do that. But it gives kind of a nice little shadow. And I'm gonna do in the insides, just along the left and top, kind of in there. Okay. Awesome. And then the last thing is just these little sprinkle dots. I'm kind of leaning towards, that was the, was that the coral blend I used, right? The lightest. So I'm just gonna go so it's with the same pink as I did the shells. Cute. Okay. going to take my white gel pen and I'm just going to add a couple lines and dots to a couple of these left sides for some just little highlights. And maybe on a couple of the rooftops. I promise, I do teach language arts. There we go. And on the stairs. There we go. I'm going to lift this. I know my hand was in the way, so I'm going to lift it up. And hopefully you can see. I just did some very, very light highlights. Ooh, it looks really cool when I pull it up close in the camera. I thought it might have gotten too blurry. There we go. Okay. So we've got our coloring done. Okay. Now, I wanted to add some sparkles. So, let's do it. Just getting my little glue pen here going off to the side. Sorry guys, I just gotta get my glue pen going here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I've got a quickie glue pen and some fine glitter. I'm gonna start at the top and work down. I'm gonna go along so I just ran my glue pen. Go. So I'm just going to do it along the tops where the little cute roofs rooftops are meeting the sandcastles. So this like quickie glue pen has a little scooper. If you were Jen Shirkus and not Lindsay, you would have a couple of these in a giant tub. But I like to make my life difficult, so I'm definitely making a bit more of a mess, but I'm not too bad. It's a lot easier with like little images, but I just thought that this darn thing was too cute to not have some real glitter. Quickie glue pen dries fairly quickly, so that's why you'll notice that I'm just doing like a little area at a time. There we go. Lift that up so you can see. Okay. And then I think maybe a little bit along these shells. So I'll kind of do like a little, kind of all along the bottom. And then I just got a bit smaller on the middle one and just a dab on the top part. And I can use a brush to brush away any of the glitter that's in the areas that I don't want after it's all dry. That might have been a bit excessive. And terrible news in Lindsay's crafting land. I don't know if I was on live with you guys the last time that I was using some glitter, and my vacuum totally like stopped working on me, my cute little guy. But my friend Sienna did see some cute ones on Amazon, and she got one, and so I might try and get a new little vacuum because it makes sparkles, or if you're using like the gilding flakes, not nearly as disastrous. But yeah, my little We Are Mbop guy decided to just not work. I tried charging it and nothing is working. There we go. Okay, I ended up kind of with like a lot of glitter elsewhere, but you know what? It makes it even cooler. And then, I know I said I was going to add it to the pearl, but I think what I will do is I have, when we get it all put together, some of the Lawn Fawn, is it chunky glitter? And you dab on a bit of like more of a liquid glue and put some on. I think that'll be good there. Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. It does suck, but yes, it's not sucking. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. And if I decide afterwards that there's somewhere else that I might like a little extra shine, I do have a glitter pen. It's just a Sakura Jelly Roll one that has some silver glitter. So I can always add in some extra highlights there. Okay. Hey, we're doing good. It's an hour. And we just got to pretty much put our card together and fussy cut some fish. Okay, so before I add on some dots, what I'm going to do is I have this black iridescent thread. Hey, where's my soup wang here? I'm going to just wrap. Gonna put the sequin on the back, and I'm gonna zoom back out again now that I'm not coloring, so that hopefully you can see the surface a little bit better. So I am going to just wrap this thread, and the deckled edge allows me to kind of go in some different areas. And crisscross. This was just some thread that I think like you can use for sewing that I got at like one of the carnivals in Calgary, like back when it, for those of you who've ever been to the carnival, there used to be like a quilting stitches show that was involved, but it's really slippery. Like when I got it, I thought, oh great, it doesn't really hold knots. Like the knots come undone. So if I ever do a bow or tie a knot, then I always have to use like a glue dot to hold it in place. So I'm hoping by the time I add my foam and just different, but like even you'll notice like the Suk Wang doesn't even really want to stick to it that well over here on the side, so it's kind of funny that way. Might take that backing off, and then hopefully by the time I get it glued, it'll just all be stuck in there, so I think we'll be good. I have sparkles everywhere. That's good fun. So that is wrapped there. Okay. So now I have some foam. I probably should take the Suk Wang backing off because yeah, like it doesn't stick to that very well. There we go. Of course, when you're live, I think this happened to me last time. I have no problem getting off the backings when you're doing it yourself and nobody's watching. But when you're live on camera, of course the backing doesn't want to come off. There we go. so now I'm gonna just add some foam strips. Oh, don't use my fussy cutting scissors. That was almost a disaster. Yeah, you know, it's so funny, Kim. Whenever I try to use my scissors or like my paper piercer, then I just make more of a mess. Luckily, I have long fingernails. But yeah, there's so many that use like tweezers or different things, don't they? I guess everybody just has their thing. Gosh, we're doing so good. Why is it always the weirdest small things that end up creating some interesting life adventures? You. That should be plenty to I just don't want it to cave in on us, so give a good little press there. So on a really random note, not related to this at all, is anybody excited to watch the new Little House on the Prairie show that just came out on Netflix? I know that it can be divisive because of our love for the old show and or the books, which the show embellished lots. The books were, of course, told from her perspective to appeal to children. I think the new show looks fantastic, and I'm super excited to watch. And I just wonder if anybody else is sharing in my excitement and joy. I'm not usually one to, like, panic when there's new adaptions of things, because they bring it to a new generation, and I think that's important, and I can separate things. But I really want to watch, but I've been busy watching Calgary Stampede stuff, so I don't know when I'm going to have a chance, but okay. So I'm going to put this onto our card base a little bit more up at the top, because I wanted it to kind of have that Polaroid feel to it. Yep, I think that's straight. The deckled edge is kind of crooked, and I actually think I did stamp my, a little bit crooked, so I don't know. It might have a little tilt to it, but it's under the ocean, so that's okay. Okay. We're gonna come with, I was originally gonna outline or do something extra on the sentiment, but I think just the fact that it is stamped on that pattern paper, and it was on the same paper, but it was just a slightly darker area that I stamped it. So I actually quite like that it kind of gets that light to dark. I'm just going to pull it closer to me so I can get above it without maybe getting my head on screen here. Oh, gotta move it over a little bit. I think that looks about right. Oh yeah. Cute. Oh, not really. Okay. Wasn't sure if you watched the old Little House on the Prairie. What kind of shows are you watching, Kim? Do you have any good ones? I am also watching House of the Dragon, so I'm not sure what that says about me, that I can go from excited about little House on the Prairie too. dragons, but nope, I'm gonna use my fussy cut scissors. Now, I am gonna leave a little border around my fish. I wasn't sure what that was gonna look like but I think because we have the rest of the border, the texture border around the background, I think just a really thin bit of that pattern paper will be good. Oh yeah, it's so good, right, Kim? I have not watched the latest episode because we I have to watch it, like I live with my parents and I have to watch it when they're in bed. Although the other day Dad was like, I was watching some show on TV. Like I caught the last half hour and it was like this wild dragon show and there was like crazy stuff happening and I was like, oh yeah. So then I started like filling him in on all these like, oh, you know, that person and they're actually like related and this and that. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, I don't really think he was that interested. So I don't know. It was funny. But I love, love, love that show. I think it's really well done. This season's, the season premiere from this year, whew, it was like a season finale and it was like the opening show. It was awesome. I reread Game of Thrones in January. And I forgot how good a book it actually is too. And I don't know if anybody else here, like Kim, I know you do like fantasy, so maybe you have read, but I kind of want to read some Robin Hobb. I've heard really good things, and these gals I follow really like the Farseer series, and so I might try that, but I'm like, I have 50 million other books to read, let alone starting another giant fantasy series, but you know. Oh, I don't disagree, Kim. The House of the Dragon is really, really, really good. And I think because we already have an established story, like with that part of the history being written, I mean, small changes here and there, I think. I only know when online things remind me, but it's just a really well done show, and the acting. I really like Matt Smith. It's kind of weird seeing him kind of villainous. And overall, the effects on it are really impressive for a show, I think. Because I don't know if they always get the biggest budgets on shows, but... Okay, so now the biggest craziness is where to put the fish. Do we want one like kind of swimming above? Or down lower? I don't want to cover the pearl. I don't mind that. This is where I probably spend way too much time trying to figure out where to put some stupid fish, but you know. Maybe like that. I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, we're doing good, folks. We're almost done. Get a little half piece on the tail. Yeah, I do like that it's over top the like kind of colors there. Now I think this tail might be a little small. Oh, okay, good. my half size was okay. I was worried this one was a little bit of a smaller fish. So I wasn't sure if I'd cut my piece small enough. There we go. Perfect. Gonna just add a little reflection onto my goldfish. And then I'm gonna take my sparkle pen and I'm just gonna add a bit of the sparkle pen onto the fins. And then the edge of the banister. And the edge of the clamshell. Just add some shimmer, but it's not as clunky. I think that's good. I like it. Okay. So the only thing, because then I have 3 different kinds of glitter, is after I'm done the live, or I could probably just show it now, and hopefully I won't mess it up. Because I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I'm a little bit scared with the chunky glitter. I don't use it as much, but gotta be committed, right? So, put down a doe. That might have been a little bit of an excessive amount of glue. And I have a little spoon. And I know that you can peel off the bits of the sparkles that don't stick after. So, it looks a little bit strange now, but I'll lift it up and I dabbed on a glob of glue and I put that chunky glitter onto it. I'm gonna let it dry, and then the other flakes that aren't stuck to the glue, I should be able to kind of poke off. Let's hope. I'm feeling good about it. In fact, I just blew some of it, which, you know, now I have a really big mess, but that's okay. I'm gonna go in with a few more pieces. I'm just gonna dab it in with my paper piercer, maybe. Okay. Cute. Okay, I have a glitter disaster here, but that is okay. Makes everything more fun. I might, when everything is dry, get some clear sequins. Maybe just add a few clear sequins to look like bubbles. But I don't know. It's pretty glittery as it is, so I don't really want to mess with it too much. So there is our finished card. I'm going to try and get it in the camera. Oh, that's so cute, you guys. I'm really, really, really happy with that. And so that is our card using Deep Sea Palace. Always so fun to hang out with you guys. I hope that you all have an awesome day. Check out this stamp. It is on sale in the online shop. There are so many other sets. Kim had mentioned it as well, like I did at the top of the hour, that there is a lot of underwater sets that it would go with as well. You can have a lot of whimsical fun. There's also some great inspiration from previous designers that have designed with this card in the shop. So thanks for joining me for Throwback Thursday on an afternoon. It was really nice to be crafting when it's daylight outside my window. For anybody watching on replay, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll take a good photo of it when everything's dry, post that in the group, and I'll try to get the video uploaded probably this evening. I don't see why I shouldn't have it up on the YouTube channel ready to go. If you are not already a subscriber, you can head over to the Kraftin Kimmie YouTube channel and subscribe. There's all the Throwback Thursday videos, as well as all the journal videos and any others that have happened live here on Facebook that are moved over to the YouTube channel, so you can watch on replay to your heart's content. I hope you all have a magical weekend coming up, and we'll see you next time. Bye.